Hi gang, just cutting glass for my window that I'm making. I posted a picture of it earlier, so I thought maybe you just want to kind of hang out and maybe get some tips. First goal is basically get them all separated from each other, so if I have a crack, it's not going to ruin the rest of the sheet. After I get them all cut, I just put them in a pile, and the next step is going to be to grind them. I started the window yesterday, not counting drawing. Figured I had a couple days here at home, get a good start on it. I used to crank out like a window a day when I had my studio running full time. So you'll notice I don't waste around when I'm cutting. Right now I'm using a Toyo pistol grip cutter, and I've got a cotton ball filled with some oil in here, cutting oil. Alrighty. I don't have any oil in my pistol grip cutter because it leaks out all over the glass. I just dip it every once in a while when I feel like it's kind of dragging a little bit or chipping more than I like. Wrinkle in the glass there. You have to grind that piece. That came off. I have a tin bucket over behind you, behind the camera there, that I'm throwing all my little pieces in. This glass is a very dense glass, so I'm using my Toyo cutter. I've got an inland cutter here that I prefer to use, but it seems to not want to cut on this dense glass as well as what the Toyo does. So I'm kind of working back and forth with my cutter. So this window ended up being, I think it was around 275 pieces. Started it yesterday afternoon, and I videotaped segments for people that do stained glass so they can maybe get some tips and tricks, something like that. So far, I would guess I've got about maybe 10 hours total. I don't know, I kind of stopped and started yesterday, watched a little homework, start again, take a break, start again. I think I have 5 hours just picking glass out of that 10 hours. So, yeah. I have a bad break later. Hi guys. Hi Debbie. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to stop every once in a while and kind of maybe explain something. My main goal here is to get this separated out, so if I have a break, a bad break going across there, I won't ruin the rest of the piece. I've only had one project that I didn't have a single bad break when I was working on the project, and that was the Lutheran Church here in Sunrise Beach. Their stained glass windows. That was pretty cool. And it was the crucifixion, I think. No, what was that? I don't remember. But I didn't have a single bad break on it. That was pretty cool. Once in 20 years. What's that? Got a screw in my grid. It looks familiar too. Huh. Don't want that to break the glass. Oops. It's my bucket. No blood yet. Not working hard enough. Oh, wait, look. Oh, I do have a nick. It's a good day. too far. Any guesses where it's going to break? Where I didn't score? I'm betting it'll go right there. That bets. Let's see what happens. Maybe I get lucky. Ha! You see my line? That's pretty dang good. I've been doing this way too long, obviously. I'm just going to grind that off. Not worth the time. Glass wants to break in a straight line. That's how I knew how it was going to break. And on this one, I came and did this, and then I went across there, and then across there, and across there. You can kind of convince it to break in a curve, but it may or may not cooperate. So sometimes it's easier just to make a series instead of trying to get it to curve like this, especially as denser glass here. Just do a series of straight lines to get the curve cut out. Get that out of there. That's what will get you. It's these little pieces to get down in the grid. Let's keep going. Okay. So now this one, that's a pretty gentle curve here. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut it out. Notice I'm using my body to curve it. Then a little teak that started the curve and finished it up on the other side. Okay, what's next? Let's do this one. This one, I glued the pattern on upside down. I'm using freezer paper here, which is, it's got the wax on one side and paper on the other side. But I want the rough side to be in the front of the window versus this side. So in order to do that, I needed to glue my pattern pieces upside down so that this ends up being right side out. You always cut on the smooth side. So these are just little things. There's no right side or wrong side to glass. Just whichever side you want to be out. I'm going to go ahead and just make that curve. Just start the run. A little tink. What that does is that breaks. I don't know if you can see it. Probably can't see it. It breaks that score line. Can we see it there? There, we can see it. Where is it? It is. How can I get this angled so you can see it? The score line's right here, the crack. Can you see that? Let me see if I can do this. Just holding it on camera. It's not going to let me. Oh well. So I got it started here. Come back over here. And it just follows that score line. Now this is Spectrum glass, so I'm going to switch back to my inland cutter versus the Toyo. Toyo seems to work best on like Chinese made glass, the stuff from Hobby Lobby, Kokomo glass. My inland cutter seems to work best on Spectrum glass, and it fits my hand a little better. It's got a little thumb rest there that the Toyo doesn't. And this is just for a little bit bigger grip. And I've got little tiny hands, so this just fits me a little better. It's my preferred cutter. Here's the score line. Spectrum glass is just a little softer, I think. So it cuts a little nicer. Not a lot of pressure. Again, my goal is just to get these all cut apart, so if I have a bad run, it doesn't interfere with the other pieces. one side, run it through. Got them all cut apart here, pretty much. All right, let's finish the job. I like, I guess for lack of better terminology, I like saving time. So I usually do all of my scores. Oops. And then do all of it. It saves a lot of time, not like stopping picking up tools back and forth. Time is money when you're running a studio. In cutting, I'm always trying to come into the cut at a 90-degree angle. So since the grain of the glass is going this way, if I tried to go ahead and cut that around, it's going to break. This is a better piece, you can see it. It's going to want to go straight. So I'm just going to go ahead and score it that way. Off, and back, finish it up. See? Wants to go straight. Sometimes I just try to tell the glass that I'm the boss. It never listens. And then these little edges here, I'll just grind off with the grinder, which is the next step. Yeah, it's worth keeping there. I actually don't throw anything away. I've got a metal bucket over here full of glass scraps, and I can reuse those. Sometimes you just need a little eyeball or a little tiny piece of something, so I'll dig through that. I can also throw it in the kiln and just melt them down into glass globs. Let's see. What's next? This is the bottom side of the flowers. This is denser glass. I can feel it already. So I'm going to want to switch to my Toyo again. These separated. On on long, slender points like this, if you're a glass person, I overdo my points. You see that? I overscore my point just a little bit, and I use the grinder to get down perfect. If I would try to follow that down to the exact point, it's going to break off. So the grinder is a tool. Use it for that. Little inside cut. Same with this. I leave just a little bit, let the grinder get it exact. I tell you, if you do stained glass and you don't use freezer paper, you know more cuss words than I do. I can't imagine doing stained glass any other way, because if I grind this to this exact pattern, it's going to fit perfect with the next piece, because I used foil shears to cut these out, which leaves a little gap in between each piece that goes next to it, and this pattern will match the next piece next to it exact, and you'll have a perfect fit every single time. The pattern I leave on while I grind it, and so I know exactly where I need to grind it to get a perfect fit every single time. Saves so much time, so much frustration. Do yourself a favor and switch to using pattern paper, and I use this glue stick. This is the best one. I've tried everything on the market. This I get from Staples. It's the Avery Purple glue stick from Staples. It's the best to glue it on. It comes off easy when you want to, if you need to relocate because you had a bad break or whatever. It's easy to reposition your pattern piece. Easy to clean off. The worst one is the Elmer's brand. Doesn't work at all. There's a bad break. I teach all my students this method, and I tell you what, I have got some incredible students' work because it's following this method. You can't lose. You can't mess up. You'll notice I kind of laid the pattern pieces out so that I went right straight from here straight through to that one. So I can use the advantage of one stroke cutting, for lack of a better word, to save time. Again, I kind of overshoot the corner so that I can grind that exact. That way you won't have a bunch of corners missing, or points. Points are the hardest. It's gonna break there, so I'm gonna go ahead and store it the way it wants to break. There we go. Oh, that's going to be bad. It went in my pencil cup. Should not have the pencil cup. Reach in and grab a pencil, and it's all the way to the bottom. Grab a pencil and get a piece of glass. Yeah, not good. There we go. Again. Oh, I did cut myself. I thought so. Again, I scored it along there. It's going to break right there. Thought I felt that. Here we go. Boom. It didn't break quite where I wanted it to. So my little nippers will let me grab little pieces right there and nip it off. Sorry. A little alcohol on that little teeny tiny nick. Little teeny tiny nick. It's going to bleed all over everything. There we go. This is not flea spray, it's alcohol water. Alright, what's next? Some pink. Oh, I can tell this is dense glass. Let's get this separated. Also, separating it first lets you get a feel for how the glass is going to break. You can hear the surfaces. You don't hear the scratch on it, so definitely a little more temperamental. Slick surface. Jabbed myself. One of the most interesting things about glass is you can cut yourself, and usually it's on the grinder when you do it. And glass is so razor sharp you don't even feel it. Normally you don't know you're bleeding until you see it on the glass and you start looking for where the blood's coming from. Except when you stab yourself like I just did. Stupid. And I think I'll take a little bit of that tip off. There we go. That's grinding. The surface has got a little wave to it too. It makes it a little harder to score. Anyway, I'm going to keep on cutting, take a break, get some coffee, may come back later. Finish.